Welcome to I'm From the Internet, a podcast about somethingawful.com, the goons, and their consequences. I am Chicago illustrator Winslow Dumaine, and I'm sitting here with internet historian Jay Brandstetter. Jay, how have you been?
I've been really busy. I've been playing with magnets, which is fun, since we've been going on walks more.
Wait. Take me through whatever that means.
Yeah, so we've been going on walks more, and there's always like a lot of like loose nails and like bits of metal and stuff on the side of the road because people don't like construction. And so I got it's like $30 at like Harbor Freight, but it's like a magnet on wheels. So when we go out for walks, I literally like go in front of Fred with it, and I like pick up all the bits of loose metal with it, and then when we get there, we come back, we just dump it up in the trash can. So it's very neat because like a lot of it is like loose shards of rust, and it like matches the magnetic fields and makes these very surreal patterns. Like it is just like
I fuck with that very much.
I'll have to take some pictures next time, yeah, because like we like to pick up trash when we're out on walks because nobody picks up trash around here, and that's like a fun way of doing it. So yeah, I totally recommend it. And when you pull up the magnet to get it to disengage, it makes very, very satisfying ka-thunk, and then all the metal falls off at once. Just very physically satisfying.
Oh, I love that. That's so funny. Yeah, there's guys I've seen them doing like magnet fishing out in the lakes by Chicago, and you're just gonna find like gun handles and fishing lures and shit like that.
Fake nickels.
Yeah, I do love that shit. Part of my whole life is like I wonder what's in stuff constantly. Like it's an obsession of mine to the point where if I'm on a long drive and I have nothing to think about, I just think like, what if I had like a 15-foot sphere around me that collected all of the loose change? And, like I'm walking around in the forest. Hey, maybe people have dropped some laundry money or like a penny fall out of your pocket or whatever. And it just like, dunk, and it just kind of collects into my like, narbacular weird little non-Euclidean piggy bank that's fed by this orb. And
yeah, if you had like a video game magnet power that just absolutely pickups as you drive by them.
In the game where you run around, Temple Run or whatever, where you're running around and like you have that power that causes all of the coins to run, to like cling to you, So I think about that, but like for me, one of my big, it's not fair to call it an obsession, but just like, I think is it a guy thing where I'm just like, oh, I wish I had like a really good metal detector. I wish I had something that I could like, I want to know what's under shit. I want to know what's in stuff. I want to see cross sections of things. I want to know, think about this. I want to know what's under the desert. Think about that.
I'm someone who bought a phone because I had an infrared camera. I so get that.
Yeah. Wait. So what camera do you have? Or what phone do you have?
It's a Doogie. It's a Chinese brand. It's this like ruggedized outdoor one.
Teach me how to Dougie.
Yeah, and you can see it looks like the camera on the back looks like HAL or something from 2001: Space Odyssey. It's this big ominous reflective circle, but yeah, it has night vision and thermal and everything.
Does my phone do that? Hang on. That's okay. Yeah,
you can even activate like a temperature sensor. Like sometimes when I'm cooking, I use the infrared to like get the surface temperature of the pan or whatever. It's pretty cool.
No, it does not. Damn, that would have been cool, man. I would have because I know that. Well, it wouldn't have an infrared camera, but a lot of phones have like an infrared blaster so that you can do it, which is an insane thing to say without being in a fantasy movie. But it means that you can like change the channels on things. Because I used to have a pocket universal remote that I could like, because I worked in the airport and
those were so fun.
Yeah, and they would have all these TVs on, and I would be like, shut the fuck up. I don't need like 4 different sports centers and 4 different ESPNs and 4 different Fox Newses all screaming at me while I'm trying to eat my grilled stuffed burrito, which they no longer make. And so I would just like pull up my pocket and just ding, 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 turn off all the TVs and then just go back to my business. Eventually, I'm sure they would have found me out, but why is it that all the TVs go off when that fucking ponytail creep shows up? That's a funny like some sort of X-Men, not X-Men. Yeah, I guess X-Men, but I was thinking like X-Files. Like there's the guy whose thing is he just turns off TVs whenever he's in the room and he doesn't know how he can stop it.
He's like the opposite of the brother from Better Call Saul. Electronics are allergic to him.
That's awesome. Yeah. No, I have since upgraded my phone because of the piss disaster last episode that we did. And now, yeah, it's just a nicer phone. And it was one of those things where it's like, look, I'm either going to feel like a stupid asshole about this and kick myself for spending the money, or I'm just going to have to just fucking get over it and move my panic to another part of my life that's falling apart, you know? So the S24, it's fine. It's a real nice phone. That's all. I don't know. But yeah, it's good that you're getting out. I'm glad that you're fucking around. I don't have any shows for a bit 'cause, you know, there's a little bit of a lull for the holidays, but I'm headed out to Omaha to kick off next year for shows. And I'm also going to Omaha and Albuquerque for the holidays. Man, we should get into the episode, but at some point in time, we should do a what the fuck is going on in our DMs, like a special episode, because my DMs have been a little fucking wild the last few months, and I have them like segmented into different types of people who have been freaking out in my DMs. And now I have one person who's just muted, and I can tell that they're writing me novels in my DMs. And I've like literally only shook their hand once. Like I don't know who this person is, but they are like they're losing it. And I talked to some people about it, and they were like, oh, like telling by the terms that they're using, this is like an autistic fixation thing. And they described me as their limerence, which is, I don't know if you've heard that word.
I know that term, yeah, from like Love Shy stuff.
Yeah. So, yeah, they said that it's basically I am their hyperfixation. And so, like, I posted a clip from my KoYan set where I talk about how I don't like seeing men kiss their wives like they don't mean it. You know, like if you're going to kiss your wife, I'm never going to say goodbye with a little peck. I'm going to kiss my fucking wife, all right? I'm going to give her the fullest kiss. Yeah, and so they saw that clip, and they were just like, had such a strong reaction to me talking about kissing that they wrote me this whole thing about like how they don't ever get kissed and they wish they were kissing me and all this stuff. And it's like, thanks. Thank you. It's like that between like hails of abuse. So it's a very, I don't really block people, but I do every once in a while be like, let's put you in a little chamber and see what happens. I wonder if they listen to this. I don't know that they actually are that hyperfixated where they would bother listening to the podcast, but here we are.
That would be pretty funny. Somebody who was like pathologically fixated, you'd be like, yeah, podcast, hit or miss. I don't really care.
Yeah. What's funny is that like they are one of the people who like, dude, I know this sounds like so fucking egotistical, but like there have been a few people in my life who have been like unhealthily obsessed with me. And I have also been told by other people that like part of how I present myself on the internet does invite it to a certain type of obsessive type, because I post myself very availably, I guess. I don't post a lot about like, you know, my relationships necessarily, because I've learned from that, you know, that can fuck your life up. And I do end my posts frequently with love and power to you all, aquam spicere alligatoris. Just, it means to thicken the water of the alligator in Latin, right? And, you know, sometimes on my, like, new product posts, I'll end it with, like, okay, I love you, bye. Which, to me, is just, like, a silly thing that's, like, almost too twee for me to say. It's, like, that's a little too, like, Tumblr cute. But apparently other people see that, and they're like, he's like, saying to me, I love you. And that is, like, an invitation. It's very interesting, because I would never have thought that. Because it's like, yeah, you look up and you see like 600 people have liked the same post. Do you think I'm saying I love you personally to every single person?
Well, I kind of get it, because whenever someone complains about someone, I just assume they're complaining about me. So there has to be like an inverse of that.
Oh yeah, dude. We've probably talked about this in the past, but like anytime people talk about a bad man doing things, I think that they're talking about something that I've done. Not that they're cryptically referring to me, but like every time there's some like, I hate it when men do X or Y, I'm just over here going like, oh yeah, I'm totally guilty of that and I should feel terrible. even when it's just like, oh, I hate it when guys only ever talk about football and beer. And I don't ever talk about football or beer. And I'm always just like, oh, but maybe we swap in this and that and move this around. And like, there we go. That's why I'm bad. You know, like, it's such a stupid way of thinking, but it's there. Looks like you have something for me here today.
Yeah, well, Scrabble that's just Z's and X's would make for a terrible gift, and that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about terrible Christmas gifts. This is from a 2010 thread, and this is just, it's the holidays. I thought this would be something fun we could do. This is going to be a bunch of stories of people getting owned by their parents, or just a lot of both funny and sad stories in a good way. So, well,
do you have any like standout bad gifts from your life?
I do. I had a grandparent on my father's side who was like someone who she would like buy like garbage bags full of stuff at yard sales and give it to us for Christmas, even though it was like she'd give like my brother who was like 14 a skateboard, like a Spider-Man skateboard that was meant for like a 5-year-old and was like all sun bleached and stuff, like, or just not very considerate, just like giving people stuff to give them a bunch of stuff. But you know, that's about it. I don't think I've ever had anything too bad.
Yeah, my dad got me a box of Raisin Bran. That's pretty bad. But I would say, I don't know. Yeah, I guess that's like, she meant well. But before I went to Chernobyl, Liv got me a book and some CDs on how to learn Russian, which I was like, that's so sweet. They don't speak a lot of Russian there. In fact, that's kind of a point of contention for them, you know? But yeah, that was a funny one. But yeah, especially when I was younger, before like I had kind of a decided look and feel to who I am as a person. There's a lot of people who like didn't really understand who I am, understandably. And so like I got a lot of like, you know, shirts with buckles on them from Hot Topic. My sister loves to like find a shirt that she could imagine me wearing in 2010 and for some reason get me an extra large, which is fascinating because she still calls me baby brother. And I'm like, don't call me baby brother. I could be the father of your youngest child. Like I'm no longer a baby brother. So I call her old woman and she's like, what the hell? Why are you calling me an old woman? Like, why are you calling me a baby brother? She's like, but it does not compute for her in any capacity.
Oh, that's very good. I love that. Yeah. That's what I think about more. I guess like my grandparents on my mom's side, they would like give me like Bill O'Reilly books when I was a little older. Like, you know, very much the whole like, here, we'll get you the video game you asked for, but here's some conservative stuff. And I'm just like, all right, thanks. You know,
that's funny. Yeah, I stumbled upon a meme talking about when your parents buy you the game you want. And you're reading the back of the box on the way home, and your imagination is going wild, thinking about all the things that you could do. And like, oh wow, did that hit me right in the feels for to say of the most Reddit thing I've ever fucking said. But like, just thinking about those days as a child when like your imagination was truly untethered, your food was taken care of, you had your own room, you didn't pay rent, and you're just looking at the back of, you know, fucking Pokemon Red, you know, especially if it was like an RPG where you could just like run around and name stuff and make it your own world. Like, oh my God, will that ever happen again? Will I ever have that kind of experience again? I don't know.
Yeah, I miss anticipating something that much. Like Christmas night, like as a kid, I legitimately would not sleep for most of the night and be like, because I was so excited looking forward to it. And part of it was because like there was the only time I really got was like on my birthday, and Christmas was like when I would get stuff, and that was about it. Otherwise, I didn't have an allowance or get presents or anything. So it was kind of like, okay, I'm getting my 3 video games for the year. I'm like super excited.
Oh yeah, I just like, I don't know, man. This is going to be a very dear listener, Winslow's going through some shit in his personal life, so I'm trying to keep this on track without going like too morose. But yeah, no, it's tough thinking about those times when we had such things to like look forward to. You know, I if some of you follow me other places might have seen that I posted about this, but I just beat Silent Hill 2 remake, and like my head is so fucked. I have been running on like 100% stress for years now. I've been overworked for years. So much of my life like vacillates between like depressing silence and like sudden panic with these like glimpses of euphoria. And like I waited, 20 years for this moment, I would say. Not that like, I don't know, 20, that's a silly way of putting it, but like when I was a kid, I was the youngest child, yes, but also there was a lot of like drug abuse in my household. Not from my parents, but there's like we're in a rough neighborhood. Things were pretty dark for a bit. We were getting broken into a lot. Our shit was getting stolen constantly. And so while the family dealt with that, I would stay at home and play Silent Hill, or I would go down into the hole, which sounds insane. The hole was behind our house. We had like a big backyard, and then there was this steep, jagged hill that was full of like junk from the previous people that lived there. At the very bottom was a barbed wire chain link fence. Imagine that. And someone cut a hole in that fence, and then you go through that, then you're in like this open field, and then beyond that is the municipal rain basin. Ooh. Which is a enormous concrete flat where all of the rain gutters in North Omaha would collect and evaporate, including everything that fell into the gutters.
Wow.
So like a police belt was down there. Lots of like lost pets would be, the remains would be down there. Tons of trash and kids' toys and shit like that. Just an enormous concrete basin. And then at the far end, there were these twin holes that connected into one sewer pipe that connected all of the rain gutters in Omaha. And we would go in there, me and my buddies, and we would make crazy fires and make like hairspray bombs and shit. Some of my first stuff I've ever uploaded to the internet where it was like Stefan and Winslow make a fire, and we would just like, we're just kids scrambling around. I was shooting weird video, and we have this great shots of like huge fucking fireballs erupting out of the sewer. And that's where the photo of the birth control pill picture that I showed you, that one of the other episodes of the exploding baby carriage, right?
Yeah.
So I played Silent Hill 2, and I went down into the gutters, and I just kind of had this very solemn, lonely fucking life. And it informed a lot of who I am. And then I ended up becoming a horror artist who is making a horror-inspired game. And I'm sitting here watching this beautiful rendition of Silent Hill 2, watching the credits roll, and I'm just like, I'm just too old to feel things, maybe. Maybe it's just depression. I don't know. Anyways.
Oh, I get that. Yeah. Like
I yearn.
Yeah. The magic it can be gone sometimes. Like just knowing how it's made or having your own perspectives. Like, yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I'm kind of like, yeah, when I was a teenager, I was kind of the opposite, where it's like I lived like out in the suburbs and it was very isolated. Like there, you had to walk a mile to get to like anything. And, I didn't have a car.
Right.
So, and my parents didn't want to take me anywhere because they're always busy. So it was just like video games were like my one thing I could do and go around and explore and everything. And now it's like, now that I have like a much better developed both internal and external life, it's like that isn't as compelling to me anymore as it used to be. And you bring a lot of yourself to these things, and I'm sure if I ever feel like it again, it'll still be there. But for now, I'm kind of happy to have other things to focus on after that being so much of my life for so long.
Yeah. We do this every time. I do this every time. And I want to apologize to you and to the dear listeners that when Jay and I start these episodes, you're the first human being I've talked to for like 12 hours. So I know I gab a lot. It's a podcast. I should fucking let myself talk.
Exactly, yeah.
Sorry, I'm dealing with things. This is a Christmas episode. What the fuck do you care? You should be spending time with your family.
Exactly, yeah.
Let's get into the episode, Jay. Tell me what these gifts are.
Okay, cool. The one I have here to open with, like the sort of tone setter, is one by a poster named VWVWV. It says here, my grandmother, without fail, has given me a beach towel every single birthday and Christmas for the last 10 or 11 years of my experience. Just a towel. I live in Oklahoma! Arrgh!
I mean, yeah, I like that. That's a fun one.
There's like a surreal edge to a lot of these that's very funny. Yeah, like being given just a beach towel when you live somewhere with no beaches is very funny.
That is really funny. It makes me think that, obviously this is not the case, but did you ever read Lies and the Lying Liars Who Tell Them?
I didn't.
The Al Franken book.
But I've seen it like at book sales and stuff.
It's a funny book. It's obviously like 20 years out of date. Al Franken is like a really funny guy, and one of the things that he does really well is like there are aspects of his writing that are like he was a funny person before Twitter. And so he writes things that are like actually humorous, that are like using language and using expectations to be funny rather than I think X makes Y look like Z, you know, which is like the Dennis Millerification of how we talk on the internet now, right? You have to know all of these different things and speak like skibbity toilet in order to understand it, right? But one thing that he does in that book is the opening chapter, you know, the first letter is like illuminated. It's a very large T, and you know it starts the chapter off. And then you get to the next one, and then it's like the first letter is always the biggest one, and that's just like a stylistic thing they do. But for his book, for every chapter, he makes that starting letter like 1 or 2 points bigger, and you don't notice until you're at the middle of the book. You're like, these letters are huge, and by the end of it, it's just one big T. And what I'm thinking is like, if you're like, look, I'm gonna give my grandson a beach towel every year, starting at like, he's going to be like 9, and he's going to go like, what the fuck? And then I'm going to do this for a decade. And every year, if you did something slightly different so that it spells something out, kind of like in Dead Space where the chapter titles spell out, what is it, like your wife is dead or Nicole is dead or something like that.
Like each year she gives you one with a number on it. At the end, it's a bank account with your college money in it.
Yes. Yeah, dude. Well, who was it that like covered for KoYan or covered for one of the late night hosts where like every night he revealed one number of his personal phone number?
I don't know, but that's a very good bit.
Anyways, keep going, as you were saying.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So just like there are holiday traditions on the Something Awful forums that are still ongoing. Like, you know, they have every year they have a Christmas album they do. They have the Something Awful Secret Santa where people do Secret Santas. And we're even going to have a couple stories about those in the future probably because, you know, when you have a bunch of people competing to give the most outrageous gifts, sometimes things can get pretty outrageous.
Of course. Yeah, of course.
And also, like, a thing that they don't have now, but they used to have more of was, like, choose your own adventure threads for the holidays. Like, there'd be, like, Christmas-themed ones. And also, like, gift-making threads where a bunch of people be like, here's how you can make stuff to give away if you don't have a lot of money. Like, especially when a lot of people were college students. Like, when I was in college, I made a lot of kusudama paper balls as, like, Christmas presents because I didn't have a lot of money, and I learned about it from that thread. So, it was
kusudama is like an origami thing?
Yeah, it's like origami, except where you glue the pieces together as well as fold them. So, it's like, yeah, origami with glue. A lot of it is, like, you can make, like, really ornate geographical like orbs out of stuff.
Oh wow, yeah, no, those are real. My mom would love those. Oh, I should get something like that for my mom.
One small like origami piece, like you make like 36 of these petals, and then each one you have to fold it and glue it together. Like I would use like paper clips to hold them together while they were drying, and you can make it's fun. I
have a poster for Aphex Twin's Richard D. James album. I made a papercraft. You know the cat who's sticking her head out of the ceiling and it says like ceiling cat is watching you masturbate or something like that. I found a papercraft version that kind of looked like that cat, and I had it on my Aphex Twin poster for a while. But yeah, I remember when I discovered that because like that was one of those things where like the coolness of the internet was very much tied into things that were done on the internet. But papercraft to me was just like, oh, I just click print. And then I can make these things by hand. It's the same thing I felt when I made the, I mean, obviously I know that this is hack now, but I made the Cards Against Humanity had a printable version of their game. And I plan on having a printable version of mine somehow. But yeah, the game could be made and printed out for free so that everybody could play it. And eventually you would want to buy the real one or whatever. But I like papercraft stuff.
Me too, yeah.
Sorry, that was a hell of a tangent for one word, kusudama.
Yeah. another one of these traditions that they had was they had a dedicated thread each year for complaining about shitty Christmas presents that you received, like either as a child or that year. And like, half the fun of these threads is people kind of telling on themselves because they're like being very angry about small perceived slights. But then the other half is like a glimpse into these genuinely horrible family dynamics. Like on like a meta level, this is kind of like the most the most revealing glimpse we get into like why some of these people are like this.
Yeah. I could very, very much understand how that could happen because there are aspects of, half of the people on Raised by Narcissists are people who are from fucking normal houses, and they're just like they themselves are psychotic assholes, or they have been radicalized into hating everybody off of the internet because, you ever notice when somebody discovers a diagnosis and then they start using it on everything, like they learn the word of the day and they start like plugging it into different things. When somebody discovers what a narcissist is and they're just like, oh yeah, everyone I've ever dated has been that because they at one point were selfish. It's kind of that, but then the other half is people who are actually from fucked up households.
Yeah, strange parent stuff is fun for that because half of it would be like, oh, my mom didn't give me the thing I wanted for my present. She didn't call my birthday. The other half would be like, my parents made me eat cement when I was growing up. Like, it's so imbalanced.
Yeah. Dave Ross has a great joke about that where he's just, I can't, this might be on his new album, which you should get. He released a record every month of this year, and I designed the art for, I believe, the second one.
Hell yeah.
But he has a joke on this where he's like, every year on my birthday, my mom doesn't call me, and I told her, hey mom, look, it's my birthday. I would love to hear from you. I would love to talk to you. And my mom said, oh, does Dave miss his mommy? And I was like, yeah, I miss my fucking mom. Like, calm. Why am I the asshole? I just want to talk to you. It's my birthday. But he has more to the joke, and I don't want to spoil it. But it is very much a thing where it's just like, yeah, sorry for fucking loving you, Mom. God. Anyways, next gift.
Cool, yeah. So the OP here, just to start it off, the thread is in general bullshit. What the hell is this shit? Terrible Xmas gifts in 2010. OP is Tempest Fuego, and they go, sometimes you get good gifts and sometimes you get shit. This thread is for the shitty gifts. So, goons, what terrible gifts have you gotten for Christmas or any other occasion if you want? My shitty gift would be a fucking tractor hat. A hat with a shitting tractor patch on it. I hate tractors and anything farm related. Also, feel free to talk about any shitty Christmas related experiences as well. And just like just a hat with a truck with a tractor on is how we start. We're starting very small potatoes.
Maybe it's just how you read that. Maybe he was like, a hat with a shitting tractor patch on it. I hate tractors and anything farm related. Maybe if it was read like that, I'd feel differently. But the way that you read that made me just go, I hate tractors and anything farm related. Yeah. Because if that hat was $35 and I had 100 of them, I could sell out of them tonight in Logan Square. You could go to Williamsburg and sell out of those to dudes, like to lefty dudes who have mustaches and are like trying to get Republican pussy. I could sell out of those hats instantly. She was just one step ahead. That's all that was.
Yeah, it was just a little ahead of the curve there. But I like it because it starts off so small and then after a little bit.
Yeah.
Also, this is 2010, so like it is kind of a fun time capsule of like what people were like then. Like I have this one here from poster A Furious Fetus where they complain about getting a board game for Christmas. They go, I'm 24. Why in the name of fuck would I want a board game of any kind? It's like, yeah, 24-year-olds definitely don't play board games.
That's surely not $1 billion industry now.
I have friends. I know what people do.
Yeah, that's really funny. There's certain people who just like, I don't know, we don't need to get into that. But yeah, obviously there's plenty of people playing board games all over the place.
Definitely get retrospective here. It says, when I was a kid, my uncle got me a...
Hold on. That is Deflategate retrospective.
Sorry, I don't know.
Do you know what Deflategate is?
Refresh me.
That's the Super Bowl when the Patriots... I could be totally wrong. We don't have any listeners who would know, so I can say whatever I want about this. The Super Bowl the Patriots practiced with a slightly deflated ball, which has like different aerodynamics and throws differently. And they practiced with that. And then during the game, somebody let the air out of the ball so that the other team was not, like they threw the other team off, but the Patriots had practiced with it. And so it was called Deflategate. I don't know if anything ever happened with it, but I do know that this I'm again talking completely out of my ass. The QB for the Patriots is like whatever his fucking name is. I'm sorry. If you're a sports fan, don't listen to this podcast. But he ended up like stealing a bunch of money for this charity for children so that he could build a tennis court for his own children. Like they're all just millionaire scumbags.
Oh, that's awful.
So yes. Anyways, Deflategate retrospective.
That's very good. Also, on the topic of corrections, I do need to issue a correction. The planet that the Transformers are from is Cybertron, not Energon.
We got a furious email for that.
Will correct us for so.
Yeah, dude, they won't correct us on the fucking Super Bowl, but they were like, "Excuse me."
I mean, yeah, I'm the Sonic lore master here, so I get it.
That's funny.
Yeah, so Deflategate retrospective says, when I was a kid, my uncle got me a sweater. Later that week, I saw the same sweater for sale at the liquor store down the block. Hey, so that counts.
I don't know. I mean, what kind of sweater are they selling at a liquor store? Because if I had a Malort sweater, I could sell that shit easy. People would love that.
Yeah, this is your uncle's trying to get you on the hustle and grind set. You could have taken advantage of that.
Yeah, dude. You gotta respect, as I have 3 young nieces, and I am constantly trying to get them on the uncle hustle grind. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like buying vapes for them, they can flip at school.
Oh yeah, exactly. I mean, like that's it's all tied together. You know.
Yeah, better that than candy bars.
It's true.
Yeah. This one.
Though, side note, I do have to say, and this is something we can get into another time. Fun fact about me: when World's Finest Chocolate came to my school, are you familiar with that? Did they do that wherever?
Yeah, where it's like, is that where they give you like the catalogs that you sell with like the chocolate in them? Yeah.
I was number 1 in my school because I'm a natural salesman.
Yeah.
And I won a bunch of terrible prizes, including like a boombox that had been like hand shipped from the underside of China. So the box arrived absolutely smashed and like sun bleached and wrapped in gauze. And they also put me in one of those zip up clothing, like the single stand shower stall type of thing, and put like a duffel bag full of cash in the bottom, and they did the thing where they hook up a leaf blower to it. So I have to grab the cash for 1 minute, and I got, I think, $76 with my tiny little arms. So I was a young hustler from the get-go.
Yeah, I've never gotten to go into one of those money box things. It's is it as cool as it looks?
Someday, baby. It is noisy. It is very noisy, and the pressure's on because all of your classmates are watching you flail around for dollar bills.
Well, I'm from Florida. I've been through a couple hurricanes, so I have a little practice with it.
Yeah, you get it. You get it.
Yeah, this one here by Jibba Jabberwocky is pretty fun. They complain the worst present they got was this book. It was a Christian picture book about trees from their grandma. And I'm not going to read the book. I just want to go on here because this book is I've encountered stuff like this when I was growing up, and it is so infuriating. These Christian books that hide the fact that they're Christian. Did you ever run into these? Yeah. This is an especially egregious one here. A Tale of Three Trees, a traditional folk tale from 2001. Because the cover is just like 3 trees, and it just says traditional folktale. And it turns out it's about the trees being cut down to make the cross for Jesus. And I have like a passage here, like it's just like the part like about like people seeing his nails going through his hand, and it's just like this is not age appropriate for a small child. When they pitch it as like a folk tale about trees, just.
Yeah, that's wild. Yeah, it's really funny seeing, I mean, again, a topic for another time, but like there are some Christians who are like, the Bible is squeaky clean and it's for everyone. There's not anything that's age inappropriate in the Bible, even though there's just like, she who lusted for men whose members were like that of donkeys and whose emissions were like that of horses. As for those who not wish for me to reign over them, bring them before me and kill them. The fucking evening wolves. What is it? Happy shall he be, he who takes the little ones and dashes them against the stones. Like, there's so many insane things in the Bible. We could go on. And then there's other people who are just like, there's no peace and love anywhere in the Bible. The Bible is telling us to kill all of the non-believers. And then you have like, the Matthew Walshes who are just like, Jesus was not the Prince of Peace. He was actually here to kill everyone. That's why we need to worship him. It's very funny to see like these two groups of Christians who absolutely disagree on what the Bible was. And they both vote for the same people. They both vote identically, straight ticket identically. Peace and love Christians and kill them all Christians both vote for the same fucking candidates.
Yeah, and just like I was wondering, like,
except for Becky,
like what these books are.
My friend Becky doesn't.
Yeah, like what they're supposed to accomplish. Like, I mean, because it's like,
right.
I didn't know this was about Jesus, but now I guess I do know who Jesus is. Like,
this is so funny.
Oh, gosh,
yeah.
I have another one here from Lidnesia. They go here. A friend of my grandmother's, who I've only met maybe once, used to give me a porcelain doll for Christmas every year until I was about 18. I guess it's not really terrible, but I was always into scary movies and shows and books, so I thought they were super creepy. When my mother died when I was 16, I received some flowers, which I assumed were from the woman, with a little note card attached that said, "The dolls will still come," and nothing else.
Oh, that rocks. Yeah. Holy shit.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, yeah. Have you ever done something like that where, like, this is broadly different, where you set up you send somebody things consistently, more than just one package at a time? Because I had a thing where when I moved from Omaha to Chicago, I printed off, I might have talked about this on the pod. This is prior to his cancellation. I printed off, I believe, 52 pictures of Kevin Spacey, and I had the lady I was seeing who had very beautiful handwriting. I had her sign every single one, Kevin Spacey, and then a thing that implied that the guy that I would send them to, David Kousgaard, who's a comedian out of Omaha, who's great. Go see David. I had I had her sign them, implying that David had written something else to Kevin Spacey. So it was just like, "Dear David, we were going to press charges, but it turns out they were Filipino. Signed, Kevin Spacey." Put that in an envelope and sent it to him. And I had my mom from Omaha send one of those pictures every week for a year.
That is so good.
Just to fuck with him. Yeah.
No, I don't think I've ever done anything like that in the mail that I can think of. That's very fun.
Yeah, it's a good way to mess with somebody over time. Once you realize you can mail anything, the world opens up to you. I found the teeniest little plastic raccoon toy that was like a little 3D printed raccoon with movable legs and a movable tail, and I wrapped it in like 4 layers of bubble wrap, and I wrapped the whole thing over with paper, and then I put that whole thing in a box, and I put the box into another box and a box into another box all the way until I had this huge box, and I sent it to my friend Azure so that it would take her 45 minutes to open up the package, and then at the end of it she just got this tiny little thing and a little note card that just says protect.
That is very good. Yes. Although I guess while you're talking about mail, do you want to talk about? I got your Winslow sent me a present in the mail for Christmas. I got a little.
Oh
rat.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just got a rat, a realistically sized one. As someone who's had many rats, like pulling out was just like having a rat for real. And also an old VHS tape about giant pandas. So we actually have a VHS player. I might try and digitize that at some point.
Oh, I would love to know what's on it, because I also sent to my friend Marilyn, who, if you listen, hi. I found a VHS tape of Precious Moments figurines, which is just like, if you can imagine the commercials for like action figures where they have like the cool setup with all the barrels and the the toys that you couldn't get. And then they had like cool lighting and fog and stuff like that. And then they would like, your character would smash through the barrels, and they had like that kind of tableau for what were in the end just plastic toys that you would have to play with on your couch because you don't have cool lighting or a fog machine. It was like that, but for Precious Moments figurines, which I thought was very cute. It's a very, very Christian, bizarre, like water brain baby shaped figurines.
That is very funny. This is Dill. One year, my brain-damaged grandmother gave me a large piece of green felt for Christmas and nothing else. Like, a lot of these are just like elder decline stories that are pretty sad. The ones that were in the...
Elder decline is yeah. Or, yeah, that is rough. It's just a green piece of felt. What's the intent?
I don't know, maybe...
It's going to be so hard to tell when my dad starts to dip.
Maybe her vision was going and she thought it was money. Like, maybe she's like, here, have $100 bill.
They're making dollars bigger now. I don't know what ethnicity that voice was, but they're making dollars. It's going to be hard to tell when my dad starts to go, because literally his Christmas card to me is, again, poetry about the moon. And he put some tinsel into the envelope with it. So, yeah. No, what a sweetheart.
I definitely get that. I would have a hard time there. Here we go.
Yeah.
Okay, this is another person. They go here. From a neighbor from my youth every year, I would receive metal puzzles in which you must untangle two pieces of metal from each other. The problem? I've never once expressed an interest in puzzles in my life. Another? They got me the same one every year. It was pretty odd to say the least, but it was funny when one year they handed it to me and I immediately solved it as soon as I opened it in front of them. The look on their face was priceless. I was so smug. I don't think they realized it was always the same. Just... fun way of turning it around on them.
Yeah, I remember, like, I got for some reason, somebody for Christmas got me, like, this very beautiful hand-blown glass ornament, and I remember my buddy Brian came over. Sorry, Brian, you're not listening to this. You don't talk to me. He came over, and I was like, man, take a look at this. And he's like, oh, this is so cool. And I handed it to him, like, all right, but be careful, it's glass. And he just immediately shattered it. And I was like, all right, well, there goes that.
Oh, that's rough.
And I never talked to him again.
The friendship is just as broken as this glass.
Yeah, exactly. Sweep it up.
Poster Filthy with PH there says, I used to live in a tiny-ass apartment for the longest time. My dad every year would get me shit like a huge 5-foot-tall toolbox full of tools, a heavy-as-fuck car jack, all this awesome shit, but I lived in a tiny apartment. Got a house now, and it all worked out. I think maybe at the time he wanted these things and knew I would just let him keep it all at his house until I got one myself. That was like 15 years of tools and shit he got to keep. So, yeah, it's the real Homer's bowling ball situation.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's pretty fucking tight, though. Like, tools are a fucking valuable thing to have. Like, take it from, I am one step removed from the sensitive art boy who doesn't work with tools, but I'm from Nebraska. I know to fix things. And yeah, I would love to have a nice toolkit. I would love to have my own bits for all that. But yeah, that is an expensive, like, I can't tell what's worse. An expensive gift that is completely off the mark, or a totally inexpensive gift that you just look at and it's also like, what's worse to receive? Like, they didn't spend any money and they didn't care, or they went to all of this work and now you're like, thanks for a thing that I will never use and don't know why you bought for me,
I guess in the latter, you can at least flip it, get some of that money back.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah.
Got one here from Bob Harris. This reminds me of the care packages that we got in the desert. Someone sent a ring toss game that could fit in my hand, as well as an unopened 1950s Mickey Mouse Club DVD. I sometimes wonder if people just use care packages to get rid of stupid shit people don't want. And that's a very fun idea that you just like, don't pay your trash bill, just send it in a care package to the soldiers.
Yeah, I could never get behind sending people random things in the mail. That sounds like a terrible idea.
Yeah.
No, because that obviously, yeah.
That's one of the reasons I picked that.
I'm excited to go to Albuquerque because I have multiple large bins of Chaos Pack fodder that is waiting for me out there. So that's going to be a fun thing to finally acquire. I talked to my buddy, just a guy that sells me playing cards out there and or collectible cards out there. So I have like, $300 of bizarre Wayne Barlow collectible cards out there. Someday I'll have my own. Someday I'll have Winslow Domain playing cards or, booster packs, but one thing at a time, I guess.
Awesome. Next one is from poster Nukyu Kinte. It says, my grandma used to give me $10 and then she died and my grandpa only gave me $5 and then one Christmas he gave me a potato. Fuck you, grandpa. Just
gave me a potato. Oh man. I like the diminishing returns.
What if it was just like a cooked potato? Like I could see a baked potato being good on like a cold Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, no, I don't want raw vegetables. I like, part of my upbringing is like, that you always got an orange and a quarter in your stocking because that's what my mom did. That's what my mom got from her parents back when I guess oranges and quarters were, rarer and more valuable. And so now it's just kind of this cute thing that we've continued, That's it. That's all I want is an oranges. Oranges are never incredible, but they're always fine. And I don't want you to give me homework. You know what I mean?
Yeah, none of those like Japanese friendship melons or anything.
Japanese friendship melons. Oh man, that sounds like a porn title.
It's like a special type of melon that you give as a gift, and they're like fancy, and they usually come like packaged. It's like it's that's one of the reasons why melons always show up in like video games as power ups that are made in Japan.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, I knew that there was something to do with there's some other level to why you're always finding fruit on the ground. Did you know that slot machines have fruit on them where you can like cherry, and you get a prize? And that goes back to when the prizes were flavored gum.
That was a wild thing to learn. I love seeing those old machines with just like the big gum sleeve on the side. Like I'm assuming that was to get around gambling laws because they couldn't give you money. So they were just like, well, here, have some candy.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'd probably gamble more if we got candy here, honestly.
Oh, man. Okay. DJ PM says, my girlfriend last year got a bag of used clothes from a yard sale from her mom. Her sister got a horse. That rocks. Because that makes me think of when I was a kid. My buddy Brian had a little brother named Adam. And Adam got this beautiful, the really nice Star Wars lightsaber that like is the full stick that like lights up and has a speaker in it. And like makes all the cool sounds and like looks really movie accurate. And Brian got the little one that you get at the circus that's just like a whole bunch of telescoping plastic tubes that you shook and it comes out and has a little flashlight in it. That's what Brian got. And it's just very funny to like, my brother got a PlayStation 5 and I got a stationary pad, that's just completely fucking different. I got some free
pens from my dad's work convention. And Juniper and Flame says, my dad used to get my mom boat wax every Christmas. Now that is love. No spring ever arrived when we were unprepared to work on the boat. So just giving people,
I would hope they have a boat.
Yeah, it was like the dad has a boat. It's like, here, I got you some wax so you can wax my boat. It's such a fun image. Just very sitcom dad.
Tobias Reaper says, I'm quite fortunate when it comes to gifts. My immediate family always gets me good presents, and the rest of my family normally has the sense to ask what I like or give me money/chocolate. Great. With the exception of one aunt. That's always the case. Actually, not in my case. My aunts are pretty good about it. Without fail, my sisters and I would get a bundle of toiletries from Avon. Why she thought a 10-year-old boy would be interested in Snarl aftershave is beyond me. When I got these, we'd always have a laugh at what man products I got this year before my mom would just whisk them away. Yeah. Avon, you have a note here that Avon is just kind of like an MLM thing, just kind of, she's just unloading product that she took out a loan or like remortgaged her house to buy, $10,000 of Avon products. It's Lululemon, you buy gobs of it and then you have to sell it door to door for, a fraction of a profit.
Yeah, like I read a book about like some guy who got out of 90s Amway, and that was like one of the things they talked about was like there was all this pressure to not buy outside products. Like you were supposed to buy as much as possible from within the Avon brand. So the idea of this person being like, I mean within the Amway brand, but with Avon, I imagine being like, well, if I'm going to be buying a present, I may as well be helping send some money to my upline and boost my sales by giving him some Avon. And it's just like, it's so depressing.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I'm really glad my family never got into that.
I remember going to some like job thing where I'm like, I'm a good salesman. I've worked a lot of sales jobs. And I go to this whole thing and I'm like, okay, I set up a job interview and I get there and there's like 30 people there and they're all just kind of like, our seats are arranged. I'm like, are they going to call us in one by one? Is this like a mass thing? And then the guy comes out and he's just like, you might have heard of Cutco knives.
Oh God, I was going to say it was fucking Cutco.
Yeah, and like even then, I was like, because my mom like it told me about a few of these things, and I just like got up and left, and I just looked at the people there. I'm like, this is a fucking scam, and I just like dipped. But yeah, I remember like going through this whole job process to work in a casino, and they did the whole thing, told me all about it, and they were interested in me. And at the very end, they were just like, of course you'd have to cut your hair to be 2 inches at most. And I was just like, I had like my long Hessian hair at the time, but I could put it back and stuff like that. And I just remember being like, oh my God, this is like the last leg of anyone giving a fuck about this ever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, who gives a shit, man? A man has like, what happens when the man at the who's checking your groceries out at the store happens to have long hair? Like, what do you really think is going to happen? You're not White Castle. You're not like putting out this like weird, Aryan race look for your for your employees. Like, who gives a shit, man?
Yeah, most of those MLMs are like Mormon or Mormon operated, so there is a lot of like conservative Christian culture stuff tied into them as well. It's just awful scene. Yeah, my closest,
no thanks.
My thing of that was I knew someone where they went to what they thought was a job interview, and it turned out to be like one of those timeshare scam things. And one of the videos that they showed them when they were there was the montage from the beginning of Up of the people like getting old together and then the wife dying, and then at the end it was like a thing about how like they should have enjoyed their time together and gotten a timeshare, and it was just like just the most tone deaf thing I've ever heard of.
Just like. I mean, it's like seeing commercials for Scientology, which is like, dog, you're gonna catch some losers, but like the rest of the world knows, like we know, we've seen what you've been doing. Like it's again, the internet changes everything.
It really does. Yeah.
So yeah,
and then
we have another one here.
Yeah, this one here by Wandering Knitter. I want to shout them out because they true to their name, they do knit. They make cute little like stuffed animals that they knit and sell on SA Mart. And I thought you might want to read this one because this kind of feels like your vibe.
My extended family has agreed to only give gifts to the, quote, kids, everyone under 18, from here on out. Sadly, this hasn't stopped my crazy aunt from giving out all of her garbage, each with a teary story connected to it. Last year, I got a creepy as fuck witch puppet with a hook hand. She claimed it was my grandma's favorite, even though the other aunts told me in private that they had never seen it before in their lives. I honestly dread what I'm getting this year. Yeah. I mean... I'm trying to think of like the worst gifts I've ever given, and I guess that would be up to the receiver to inform me. Luckily, I don't think I've done too bad. If anything, I'm like I have received so many gifts that I don't want that I'm hesitant to buy things for people for fear that I'm going to get them something that they don't actually want. Yeah. So. Yeah.
Apparently, I'm really good at giving gifts. It's just like with my situation right now, I don't really have like space or anything for it. Because otherwise, I usually like be getting stuff and sending it to people. But yeah, I like giving gifts to people. Yeah.
I like kind of buy gifts for people kind of compulsively. So when Christmas rolls around, it's usually just like if you like sum up the past 3 months of things that I've bought for people, I don't really need to like go out and do crazy stuff for Christmas. I described myself just off the cuff last night as like, I'm kind of like the Santa Claus that never leaves, or the Santa Claus that won't leave. Like I'm just standing there handing you packages, and you wonder what I'm doing in your house. It's June, Yeah,
that's a good relationship to be in. I'm like that with Fred's mom. Like she got me some air fryer baskets as a Christmas present 3 weeks ago. She's like, they're on sale. You think you'd use them? I like being able to do that with people.
That's funny.
Yeah. And I have one here from Attack on Princess. My mother has always done Christmas shopping, letting Dad sit on his ass and enjoy bad TV. Only once has he been forced to go shopping for presents. I was 6 that year, and I got a hammer. A few days later, all my toy cars and the better share of my Legos were hammered flat as I played with my new and exciting hammer. Shortly after running out of hammer projects, I was using it to tap the front window of the vintage Volvo PV my dad kept in the garage. It may come as a surprise for you to learn that I accidentally shattered its window that day. In retrospect, I like to think he bought a crappy gift on purpose to get out of Xmas shopping, and then it backfired on him.
What do you think was going to happen?
Yeah, like how do you have a kid that long and not realize that will happen? That is so...
Yeah, you got your kid a hammer. I mean, historically, like what he's only going to see nails, Yeah, Yeah, not a good call. Though, beautiful Volvo. Love a Volvo.
I mean, the kid seems like he had fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably, flattened a lot of pennies. Yeah.
You have to be fucking pretty incredible strength to flatten a penny with a hammer. You have to have the strength of a freight train to successfully flatten. I mean, it takes me back to the summer where me and Brian were playing The Suffering on PS2, and we made shivs with garden tools in the backyard, and we walked around in this neighborhood at night cutting down trees with our shivs.
Wow.
That was tight.
Oh, that's very fun. Gosh. Let's see. Abbe says, one year my sister gave me a quote book about sisters. The ones you get on the little turny things at the front of Barnes & Noble. Fits in the palm of your hand and is full of sappy crap. So the next year I gave it back to her.
Yeah, that tracks. Yeah.
Yeah.
I will have to say that part of what was on my nephew's Christmas list was he's like 2. But they said they needed shirts for him. And so I just was like, well, I'm not going to go to Target and buy shirts. So I got my nephew 3 shirts. They're all just like white text on a solid color shirt. One says "extremely powerful child." Another says "I have no money." And then finally, because he's bilingual, it just says "Rey de los Niños," which is king of children. And I think I'm going to do the first 2, "extremely powerful child" and "I have no money," in like a short run of baby clothes that I'll sell at various stores. But I think that would be really fucking funny to see, like a toddler running around in like his, big plastic toys, but it just says "extremely powerful child."
Yeah, those are seeing like a little like toddler clothes like that are actually funny and not upsetting.
Actually
like
funny. Yeah.
Well, here, I guess, speaking of shirts, we have one from E the Shaggy here. Having recently graduated college at the time, I was still living at home and about to move out after the holiday season. My mom informed me that she was going to give me one of the best presents I would ever receive in my life. On Christmas morning, in front of the family, she hands me a large blue bag. I open it up and there's a big blue quilt. I question why the quilt was so great, at which point she says, well, turn it around. I turn it around and see 16 individually stitched squares with symbols that were all familiar to me. After looking at it for a second, I realized that these were all from some of my favorite shirts. Oh, did you make copies of my favorite shirts and stitch them into a quilt? No. My mom had snuck into my room about a month earlier, taking 16 of my favorite shirts, which are irreplaceable, cut them apart, and stitched them into a quilt that is currently sitting in my closet gathering dust. But hey, who needs 16 shirts, right?
Oof. I mean, look, I don't think anybody is confused as to why this is a real bad call, but
oh yeah.
I mean, this is like, imagine you took somebody's like vintage baseball card collection and used it to like, they laminated them into the desk or something like that. Like, just from my own experience, there are some Manson shirts that if you can find an even somewhat decent print of an original, like Dead to the World Tour 96-97 shirt, I mean, $200 easy. I have a stack of shirts, I have some Manson stuff that I don't wear anymore, but like someday they might actually be worth real money. But, even now, if I were to look them up, they're like, $50 or $60 for any of those shirts, especially like they're even rarer to find in a common size, like a medium or a large. And I've always worn smalls and mediums. So it's just, yeah. That's a dagger. I cannot imagine why someone would think that would be a good call.
Yeah, like especially like in general, you don't want to irreplaceably mess with people, stuff like that. Like it'd be like going like, hey, I know you like cooking, so I took all your rice and put it in one big container for you. They don't need to all be separated like that, right? Like it's like if you don't know what you're doing,
mix it all together. Yeah, no, that's a bummer.
Jay Zombie, not me, another Jay. My father got one of these for my girlfriend, and it's one of those little step machines, just like
that you put under your desk, a stair stepper.
Yeah,
that's funny.
Giving someone, not just a woman that, but someone's girlfriend. That is such a Yeah, thanks, Dad, for the gift that made the woman I love question her figure for a whole year, asshole. Like,
yeah, rough. Yeah, luckily we don't have that much stuff for like the my family doesn't do a whole lot of the body shaming stuff. My mom would do it ever so lightly, and I've gotten her to like stop making comments about people's bodies. It's not like she was like fucked up from. She had, obviously everybody has body image stuff, but hers is just like background static stuff. But yeah, so many eating disorders and body image things. That shit is hereditary, man. Because like a mom that has issues with her own body is going to pass that on to her daughter, and on and on and on. So luckily we skipped that one bullet, and I got my eating disorder from popular culture. So
it's like baldness. It skips a generation in men.
Right. Lobsterhead says, the most terrible Christmas gift of all is nothing. The gift of abso-frickin-lutely nothing for Christmas. Welcome to every Christmas since I turned 13. Oof. I mean, like, it doesn't matter, but the fact that it exists is just, like, such a bummer.
Yeah, like, there are worse things than a bad gift, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. God. Open up your Death Day present. It's a box of fucking nothing. Well, honestly, what's funny is like one of the most touching gifts I ever received was in college. My extremely normie, good Christian household. My then girlfriend was extremely normie and from a very, good Christian conservative household. And she found this cute little Barnes and Noble book called The Gift of Nothing, which is just like, the whole thing is about like, you open up the box and what's inside is the friendship that we've had along the way. It's like unbelievably twee, little cartoon animal type of thing. But in it, she, with her beautiful little handwriting, wrote the lyrics to Birthday, Death Day by Metalocalypse. So, you have like beautiful little cursive. She wrote, now you're old and full of hatred. Take a pill to masturbatred. Children point to you and scream because they will become that thing. 1 year of further suffering. There's no point in fucking bluffing. Open up your Death Day present. It's a box of fucking nothing. And it was
very good.
So, that ended rather poorly, and I have complicated feelings about that whole experience in college. But I still have that present, and it's still on my shelf, and I still look at it, and I still think about her. And like that is an unambiguously very sweet thing that someone from a world completely different from my like grimy death metal world, she bought that, came down, and thought of a very funny present, and did all of that for me. I thought that was just very, very sweet. Still one of my favorite silly little gifts from my. Well, that was actually my birthday, but still.
Yeah, no, a good bit is such a precious gift to get from someone.
Right.
Ebony Thunder says, a couple years ago, my ex-wife's parents got me a track phone, even though I already had a cell phone, because, quote, they'd remember this number easier.
Fascinating. Track phone is like a prepay phone, right?
Yeah, like the one you get like a burner phone.
Oh, fascinating. Yeah, well, that sounds like they had some crime in mind.
I want to remember your phone number.
That's funny. It's like, hey, honey, I got you a house with a easier to remember address. For your birthday, I removed all of the silent letters from your name.
I changed your car's license plate to something I like more.
Yeah, that's funny.
Here, you should do Mew Force Shoelace. I think you'll relate to this one.
Mew Force Shoelace says, if you were ever seen drawing or in any way imply that you like drawing or have ever drawn anything ever, please expect to get rose art sets every year for the rest of your entire life. That's true. I think I got that once. One thing that I've only recently realized is that those dog shit markers that come with those rose art sets, you're supposed to run them under a tap. And that refills the dried canister inside.
Interesting.
And actually, they work, they're still shit, but they actually turn into good enough color markers. Nobody knew that you were supposed to soak them. Makes me think of that Onion article of panicked Pepsi executive asks people, you're boiling the Pepsi before you drink it, right?
I have this quote in here from poster Elysium. They say, I may have posted it in the last thread, but it still haunts me. There was a gift exchange type thing where everyone brought an item worth $10 to $15, then people got random ones. The idea was that people would get generic gifts, nothing for a specific age group, nothing for a certain gender. There were both genders and ages 15 to 50 or so involved. I got coupons and a rock. Not even good coupons, like for free anything. I got 50% off dairy products coupons, cheese, milk, cottage cheese, and yogurt. The rock was in there to increase the weight, so it didn't seem like a complete pile of shit. Not only was the total discount from the coupons like $6, they have an official value of like 0.03 cents or something. So,
that's rough.
God, yeah. have you ever had like a bad Secret Santa experience like that where somebody very obviously just did not try?
Oh yeah, I mean, every time that there's like a Secret Santa gift like that, when you have a limit of like $10 to $15, like what on earth could you possibly get that isn't a candle? Yeah, you know. When I was in Boy Scouts, I did one thing. I can't remember what I put into it, but I got a BattleBots toy, which was just like this fucking, I can't remember what BattleBot it was. I'll bet if we Googled like all of competing BattleBots, we could find it. But it was like this square shaped tank thing that had like a metal grinder on front. And so it looked like the Devil's Tongue tanks from Command and Conquer Tiberian Sun. And it looked fucking evil. And I was like, this actually rocks, man. Because I even ever since I was born, I've been into evil looking things. Like there's no point of where I was like turned and corrupted. I've been into like spikes and thorns my whole goddamn life. So that one rocked. But yeah, no, I totally understand that the white elephant sale is where you get like, you know, the taxidermied toad or whatever.
Yeah, I think the worst I ever had was when I was going like in community college. I had one where somebody had bought $5 worth of candy bars from the Dollar General and brought it in the yellow Dollar General bag with the receipt still in the bag. And
awesome. Awesome.
Yeah. It's just, yeah. I got this one here from Glorious Demon. I was a spoiled little shit growing up. Whenever there was a new game coming out, I bitched out my parents till they got it. One Christmas time after my parents' divorce, my dad got me a jar of Pace Picante Salsa because, quote, you like Mexican food. My grandmother got me a gift in a similar vein for my birthday, a quesadilla press and a box of beef and cheese. I hated her for it at the time because my brothers all got toys from her. It was a thoughtful gift in hindsight. I was just too young to enjoy it. And I like this one because I'm like, what did this person do to make their entire family think they were taco obsessed like that? Like, that is very
That's
specific.
So funny. Here's a fun question of like, what one Christmas gift do you think you got the most life out of?
I'd say probably, let me think about that for a bit. I'd say probably my PlayStation 2. I got that for Christmas once, and that carried me through high school.
Oh, wow. That's great. Yeah, I remember for one of my birthdays, I got Christmas money from, you know, my grandma and stuff like that. And I remember having like, you know, a Game Boy Advance was $300. I remember like really excitedly looking at all the money I got. And I was like, Mom, could we go to Best Buy and get the Game Boy Advance? And she's just like, yeah, but like, you know, it's your birthday. Let's go through the rest of your stuff. And we dug through it. And I was so stoked to be like, I can't wait to go to Best Buy. And then the last gift I opened from her was fucking not just a Game Boy Advance, but she got me Castlevania Circle of the Moon.
Hell yeah, that was my first GBA game too.
Oh yeah, dude, that game is fucking crazy because it was so big. Like by the time they got to Aria of Sorrow, they had figured out the limitations of what the Game Boy Advance could do, and so like really beautiful effects and like the sprite art was amazing, and you know, Circle of the Moon was tough and complicated, and I remember just playing the living shit out of it, dude. I was so into it. But I think that the gift that like I've gotten, I'm sure there's some other thing like somewhere else, you know, like I got a lot of use out of, so maybe I got like a camera at some point in time. I can't quite recall. But my mom, when I was a little kid, for some reason, I don't think I ever expressed an interest in it, got me an Epson flatbed scanner.
Huh. And
I was like, this is like, it wasn't like, why did you buy this? I was like, that's weird. But then what I realized is you could put anything on that photo bed and just set it to like a ultra high DPI and get these unbelievable up close photos, so to speak, of the whatever was put there. And then I used that scanner literally up until every single piece of art that I've ever, like, drawn art that I've put on the internet was from that scanner.
Wow.
That the entire tarot deck, editions 1, 2, and 3 was all through that scanner. And all of the other, like, drawn art that I've ever done was done through that scanner. It only recently died, I think, because I moved over to a new operating system and I had to get a new one. But the Restless card game that I'm doing now is the first thing that I've done that wasn't on that scanner. So I got like 15 years out of that thing. So
that's fantastic. Yeah, like scanners haven't really changed that much, honestly. Like it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, like it's this beautiful thing where like you have the most still image captive audience. So you can, I found this old photo in an abandoned heating oil company. Named Milder Oil. I never really found out who that was, but it was an oil company in Omaha, Nebraska. And I found this dirty, like, not disintegrating, but like rotted photo of like some mustachioed guy sitting at his desk that had been like water damaged and some of the ink had spilled around it. And I just lay it on the flatbed and I just told it to scan at maximum density. And I just like left for the afternoon and came back when it was done. And the photo is like 2 gigs. It's enormous. And you can zoom in and like you're seeing individual pixels as they're like, or not individual pixels, but individual dots of the halftoning that are like burst from the chemicals that it was left in, like really interesting stuff. That's why if you ever see any of my ink paintings that are published, some of those paintings are like literally the size of like a silver dollar. And other ones are like a full sheet, but because I can scan them so high def, I can get an enormous amount of detail out of them.
That is so cool.
But yeah, scroll up. You missed a few. Let's go through. We got all day.
Okay.
I'm just hanging.
Sure. All right. Cool then. I got, here we go. I'm here from Sporto.
Sporto?
Yeah. These Christmas threads make me laugh pretty hard. I got the classic plastic sandwich baggie filled with a few dollars in loose change from my formerly Canadian step-grandpa when I was about 10. Also that year, my Uncle Steve had mailed me a Stetson cologne shaving set. I don't have much use for the shaving cream, and I hadn't begun using deodorant yet, but the Stetson for Men aftershave intrigued me, which I applied liberally before class. "You're a Stetson man now, I see," said my ma before I departed to the bus stop, reeking of potpourri and beef.
That rocks. I don't know if they want me releasing this right now, but here we are. I do a lot of design for Barbed Wire. The Barbed Wire is a website it's like a news site for Texas, and I designed a bunch of their merch, and I'm trying to get them to make a beef-scented cologne, just because they want merch that is like very weird and Texas-centric, so I'm trying to get them to make a beef cologne.
Beef-scented candle.
Oh, we could do a beef candle that would probably be easier. I did make them a scratch and stiff bumper sticker that smells like brisket.
That's that is a very good conceptual bit. A scratch and stiff bumper sticker.
Yeah. It literally says pull over and try me. Wolverine says, "When I was 15 for Christmas, my mom gave me a pair of sweatpants, 12 bars of soap, and one of those plush toilet seats. I got a toilet seat for Christmas." At 15, where do you, that's just a house purchase. That's like not something, that's like, I bought you a couch for our living room. That doesn't make any sense at all. 12 bars of soap is rough.
This almost feels like the mom, like, being passive aggressive. Like, you need to change your clothes more often. You need to bathe more. You spend too much time in the bathroom. Like, that's just what I'm interpreting.
Yeah.
Is like
passive aggressive gifts are always pretty fucking rough.
Huge liability says a video input switch box with bonus input cable for my 19th birthday. I'm not usually very passive aggressive, but I was so pissed that I returned most of what I'd already bought for the gift giver's upcoming birthday. So in return for making me pretend to be happy about wires, he got to pretend to be happy about shower gel.
Nice. Yeah, I get that. This is not a complaint, but I got a very lead-contaminated antique soldering gun last year from, it's not White Elephant gift, it's Secret Santa, I guess is what it would be. Like, I had to pick something for somebody else, and then, give, somebody else got me, and all they knew about me when somebody asked, well, what is Winslow into? This is my brother's side of the family. And they're like, well, he's into like industrial stuff. He's really into metal. And I guess they took away from that like metal, like lead, copper, tin, and not like, death metal, which is very funny to me. So he's very into noble gases, just like a whole category of elements. He's into those.
Really into blacksmithing.
Yeah, and I tried to use it. It's like, I don't know dick about soldering, so it didn't really work for me, but I might still have it. Maybe I put it in a chaos pack by now, but he also got me like a brass candle holder. That's pretty cool. So I like that kind of stuff.
That does remind me, since we were on hiatus last year, the Christmas present I got for Fred was I found like a novelty bell that says ring for beer. It has a little beer mug on it. And I scraped the second E off and made an A out of electrical tape and then printed out a little like panda emoji and stuck on there. So it said ring for beer. So
that's awesome, dude.
That was very cute. Yeah, so it was like, if you use somebody, you can just do that. And I like doing cute
ring
things
for
like
bear.
that.
That's cute. Makes me think of the Calvin and Hobbes strip where Calvin gets sick and he just starts ringing the bell, getting his mom to come over.
Hoover Dam says, 1 year my mother-in-law got us potpourri. After we got home from the family party, my husband asked what it was. You put it in a container and it smells nice, I said. Here's a container, he said, motioning towards the garbage can. Works for me.
Yeah, potpourri is you have to like it. It's a very specific scent.
Yeah.
It's like patchouli. It's like, oh man, this is rough. I don't want to be in this crystal shop anymore.
The other day I got a weed vape that was lavender flavor, and it's like weed that tastes like a guest bathroom. It's
yeah. I have complicated feelings about lavender because I don't know. This is probably a very caveman way of looking at this, but I one point in time got some styes in my eye, so my eye was all swollen. And I went to the urgent care. I'm like, what do I do about this? And the lady of the urgent care was just like, oh, you just kind of squish them. And so they're like, yeah, use like a heated pad and you put it on, put some pressure on it, and it'll drain itself. And so I used something like a lamp that has like the bendable neck to make like a rigid body. And then I have this heated, like it's like a stuffed animal full of beads that you throw in the microwave and it will like stay warm for a while. It's that, but it's a raccoon. And so I just had that thing laying against my face, but I'd use the neck of the lamp to press it against my eye so I could play Binding of Isaac while my eyeball drained, which is very ironic given the nature of that game.
Yeah. Excuse me.
And so now when I smell lavender, I just think of like this hot bag of raccoon beans that are being pressed against my face to drain my eyeball pus.
That's very funny. I can see how that would affect that.
One Christmas, my mother got me and my brother t-shirts. My brother opened his first, and it was an AC/DC shirt with the band's name emblazoned across the front. AC/DC means bisexual, my dad comments. I wonder what mine says about me, I piped up as I tore into the bag. It was another band shirt. Queen, to be precise. Man, it's like, I'm sure that I know that like gay hanky code was a thing, but there's like so many things where I'm just like, oh, that's actually, you do that and it means that you are, it's like a secret thing. It means that you're gay. I think that straights took that idea and ran with it so ferociously for so long that like, there were so many different things where kids would ask you like, are you a homo? And you'd go, no. And they would go, you're not a homo erectus or whatever, just like stupid shit to yell at you.
Oh yeah.
So I don't think AC/DC means bisexual. That's not what that means. If anything, those dudes are the straightest men who have ever lived. Have you listened to their music?
Yeah, it's very funny. Just the idea of never.
Yeah, it's about fucking motorcycles and shit. Like it's.
Yeah, and a spark factory.
Yes, exactly.
Here you go, poster scarf. Mom always sticks a few $1 scratch-off lotto tickets in our stockings along with the usual stuff, just for fun. None of us have ever won anything more than like $10 off of them. Well, a few years ago, me and my brother were scratching off our ticket, and my brother stops and says, Mom, I think I just won $10,000. We all stop and look at his ticket. Everyone's heart starts racing, and he starts to get really excited. Mom, Dad, me too. After a few moments, I realized that I still had my ticket to scratch off as well. So I go at it, and mine says I'd made a number match and won $5,000. Okay, now things are looking a little fishy. Sure enough, Mom had bought us prank lotto tickets. We were at the same time disappointed and marveled by her pranking skills. We couldn't help but laugh, especially since my brother is the one who usually pulls this sort of thing.
Yeah, I remember seeing those in stores. I think I gave them to a couple people, but like, you look in the fine print and it says like, in order to redeem your winnings, you need to like send it to the Easter Bunny or some shit like that. But my friend Boo says that their mom would get her scratchers every year, and she'd be like, yeah, I never won. I never won anything. And it was always just like, you just spent $35 on shit that I don't even want, you know, like what you got for me for Christmas was me losing something when I wasn't even playing. It's like the Mitch Hedberg joke where he opens up the yogurt and it says, try again soon, or something like that. And it's like, I didn't even know I was playing, but I just like fruit on the bottom, hope on top. But yeah, don't get your kids lottery anything for Christmas.
Yeah, it just feels like they want to vicariously like watch someone do a scratch off at that point. Like,
right, exactly.
Yeah. Next up, we have Stealth. About 10 years ago, I gave my sister a can of green beans. Under the label, which I'd peeled off and glued back on, was the info for a domain name and hosting I'd bought for her. But it was pretty funny watching her, then about 15 or so, try to figure out why I bought her a can of beans back from college for her. So
he bought her a website.
Yeah, he bought a 15-year-old girl a website. I'm trying to figure I could see a family where this would work out, but also I like to imagine this is just someone being like horribly out of touch, like some computer science major would be like, oh, of course you'd want a domain name.
Yeah, maybe she was like getting into blogging and stuff like that, but yeah, that's funny.
This is a very cute delivery there, yeah.
Booney PC says, so my mother-in-law hands me this sweet-looking box. I'm thinking of all the awesome stuff it could contain. Open it up, and inside is half a mannequin and a video about resuscitation. I was dumbfounded and blurted out, the fuck is this? Thinking it was some kind of joke. Apparently it wasn't, which went down quite well. I'm still confused as to why she thought this would be a good idea. I bought something like that, like a resuscitation mannequin, and I don't know where I put the rubber face. I think I cut it off for one thing or another. But yeah, I mean, of course I did. It's like a haunted, weird doll that I got for $10 at the Goodwill. So
yeah, like this is could be a cool gift from like you, but I think like as a mother-in-law, this is just like
fascinating. Yeah,
I could have gone to a class for this or something.
Yeah, buy some random person an EpiPen. Yeah.
Maggie the cat. When I was growing up, my dad decided to start his own tradition of torturing me and my brother by pulling pranks on us on Christmas morning. This tradition started when I was about 5, when my dad hid the tree and presents by putting them in the garage the night before Christmas. So on Christmas morning, me and my brother eagerly get out of bed and run to the living room to find an empty space where the tree and presents had been. My dad, with big crocodile tears in his eyes, told me and my younger brother that Santa had robbed us and taken all our presents. It wasn't until me and my brother started crying that my dad revealed the location of our gifts. Thus began years of mean-spirited pranks by my dad every Christmas. So my terrible Christmas gift was years of trust issues.
Oof, God, yeah. You gotta. There's definitely a limit on your pranks. If you're causing somebody real distress, you know.
Did I ever tell you my dad's chainsaw prank he did on me when I was a kid?
Oh boy, go ahead.
Yeah, so I was 5 years old. Like I hadn't even started going to kindergarten yet. We just moved into a new house, and my dad was like, you know, doing like the trees and stuff out in the yard. And he has a chainsaw, and he's like cutting bits of a tree off. And then I'm playing in the front yard, and I hear him yell like, "Oh god damn! Oh fuck!" God. He's like cussing and screaming, and he doesn't. And I run out there, and he's laying on the ground with like blood all over his leg, and the chainsaw on the ground, being like, "Ah!" Screaming and like I'm like freaking out and like hyperventilating. And then he's like, "Oh, I'm just Coker." He stands up, and it's like ketchup on his leg, and I'm just like freaking out and crying, and he's like, "I told you I'm fine. Why are you still crying?" I'm just like, God.
Yeah,
I was really scared.
Dads so want to be able to like have somebody who they can goof around with, and so they start way earlier than they should. You know, they just want to get started. Because you know, you spend the first, let's say, 5 to 7 years of that child's life just waiting for them to be like cognizant enough that you can goof around with them properly. So I can understand the eagerness to get started early. But yeah, definitely don't do anything with gross bodily harm.
Yeah.
See, Internet Gentleman, a photo of my brother enjoying our hats. Oh, that rocks, because they're enormous beanies that are way too big for these kids' heads. One of them just says "Sweat Hog," which rocks, and the other one says "Get My Drift," these are very much like skiing, snowboarding hats, but that's very funny to see.
And both the kids look very sad. They're like frowning and looking down.
I should have bought it. I had a neon yellow hat that I found at some consignment store. There was neon yellow with black letters across the folded up brim that just enormously said bitch. And I should have bought that, man. Give it to someone.
You know, so many dog people that would have loved that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I guess I have this last one here to close out on by Angry Feet. My aunt lives in Zimbabwe and always has. We send her stuff like toothpaste, sugar, and powdered potato for Christmas. The terribleness of gifts is very relative. Yeah, like
living in Zimbabwe. Wonder what we sent her stuff like toothpaste, sugar, and powdered potato for Christmas. Interesting. Yeah, so I guess that's like, well, long story short, Zimbabwe, formerly Rhodesia. So I'm wondering if there's anything left to that, or maybe they are native Zimbabweans. So who knows?
So maybe then, yeah.
Yeah, who knows? That's a funny one, though.
Yeah, just
because, the thing that everybody says in their 30s is like, fuck, I miss getting socks for Christmas, because I just spent...
That isn't just, like, completely rosy and sanitized, but also isn't just, like, completely, like, hateful and negative either. It's just like, yeah, people had some bad experiences, but also, like, there was some funny stuff, and just, it was, I always think about these stories around the holidays, so it's good to get to talk about some of them.
It makes me think of, like, how every Mother's Day and every Father's Day, I mean, at least it was for a while. I would be inundated with posts that are just like, how dare you celebrate Mother's Day, knowing that some of us don't get to celebrate Mother's Day. It's like, oh my God, the world does not revolve around you.
Or like, White History Month.
I know, like, Jesus Christ. Like, dude, you know how many, like, miserable, heartbroken Valentine's Days I had just, like, surrounded by sorrow while everyone else was posting about the loves of their life. I'm like, yeah, that sucks. I'm not going to take away Valentine's Day from every single person on the planet. Like, get real. That's ridiculous. But yeah. Anyways, I hope if you're listening to this on Christmas Day, have a good time. I hope you got some good shit. Let us know, if you got a really cool present. DM one of us. DM me. DM the fucking main account. I need to put the main account back on my phone so I can post about stuff. And we will share our favorites in some sort of update somewhere. But yeah, thank you all for listening. Jay, anything you want to add?
I guess on the Patreon for like a holiday bonus, I did a little reading of a children's book, The Bear That Wasn't by Frank Tashlin. It's only about 10 minutes long, but I just felt like doing something a little different and fun and cute for the holidays. So it's on there. It's free. You don't have to be a patron to listen to it. But while you're there, feel free to check it out.
No, that's fun. That's good. Yeah, well, you can find us at iftipod@gmail.com, iftipod on Twitter. jaybrandstetter is jaybrandstetter basically everywhere. Me, I'm Winslow Domain on Twitter, and on Instagram, I am Calculations. You can find everything I do on winslowdomain.com. And also, card game coming out, pre-order for just $5. Hop on the Discord. Every single day, I'm making making the final versions of the cards and sharing them, with people on the Discord, and I'm sharing a few of them on my stories. But yeah, all of that's coming together fast. And again, if you DM me, I will send you and you ask nicely, I will send you a picture of some random thing from my cabinet of curiosities that is my apartment. So thank you all for listening.
And since it's the giving season, if you DM me, I will send you a cute picture of Hitomi, the Pomeranian Chihuahua dog that Fred has.
Yes.
She is so precious. She just got groomed, so she's very cute.
Yeah, that's we're trying to cut down on the weird shit that happens, at least in my DMs. My God. But yeah, so have a happy holidays. Take care, everyone, and we have crazy shit happening in 2025.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Here's to another year of wild stuff on the internet.
Yeah, this has been nice. Well, take care, and we'll catch you soon.
All right, see you around.
I'm From the Internet is created by Jay Brandstetter and Winslow Domain. Edited by Steve Brown. Talking, talking, talking. Talking, talking, talking. Talking, talking, talking. Talking, talking, talking.